Oh, thanks, everyone. I have two announcements. First, we didn't use EasyCater for this meeting, which is why the food never arrived. Also, and I just thought of this, effective immediately, everyone will be paid in wildly volatile cryptocurrency. You're all now billionaires. And now you're broke.
Bad ideas happen when there's no food for the meeting. So make sure it's on time and as ordered from more than 80,000 restaurants. Now, EasyCater.
You're rich again. And now you're not.
Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
LJ Cryer's three won't go. Rebound kicked away, taken away by a steal. A steal for Mark Patterson, and Patterson will put the brakes on and dribble this one out. And the Baylor Bears do indeed bear down to knock off the unbeaten Gonzaga Bulldogs and claim the school's first men's basketball championship and just the second men's basketball title in the history of the state of Texas. Baylor 86, Gonzaga 70. Wire-to-wire winner for the Baylor Bears, national champions in 2021.
Hell of a run by Baylor, not only in the Final Four, but throughout the tournament. They won every game, other than the Wisconsin game, which I believe they won by 9. They won every game by double digits, including, obviously, the U of H game. In the semifinals, they won by 19, and then they beat Gonzaga. They beat Gonzaga by 16 last night, Seth, in a game that was literally never close after the Bears went up 9-0. Like, it was – I wonder how – I mean, you didn't have a dog in the fight. I was rooting for Baylor because my son goes there. Did you find the game enjoyable last night, even though it was never really a close game?
I did. I don't know. For whatever reason, I've started to enjoy beatdowns more as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like me somehow, like some subconscious part of me wants to feel like I have power or something. But since, I have been a lifelong Baylor fan since late Saturday evening. Right. And I think I didn't want to have to face the prospects of, after I went through the sanctions, the probation, which, as a lifelong Baylor fan, I just learned now actually I forgot that the probation went through 2010.
Yeah, I'm sorry I disrespected your Baylor fandom right there. I forgot that you've been a lifelong fan since Saturday.
Yes. No, I kind of enjoyed just a thorough throttling. And you know what it is, Sean? It's because I was so fully ingrained in Maury ball, mathkit ball, if you will, for so long that I've grown so tired of just either explaining away losses or wins or anything by, they just made all their threes. Like, what are you going to do? You missed 24 straight threes. It's not going to, I'm tired of it. I just want a basketball game where you can say, statistically, instead of saying statistically, 27% of the time they wouldn't have made that shot at the end of the half. Yeah. Go screw yourselves. Screw all the basketball stuff. They just beat the crap out of Gonzaga. Oh, but Gonzaga didn't shoot well from three. Okay, partly because they weren't getting good shots, but also it wouldn't have mattered even if they had shot well from three.
Yeah.
Gonzaga can make 5 more threes in that game. They're still losing. What was the final score?
86-70.
Okay, thanks.
They made this point after the game in the post-game show that I guess it's a point I hadn't heard throughout the tournament, but that Baylor's basketball team works out with the football team in the weight room. And that kind of, you do look at those two teams.
The looks test. That's what it's looked like these last 2 games.
There was a little of that, Seth, as Baylor was building that early lead in the game. Look, I thought it was going to be a close game. I picked Baylor in my bracket, but there was favoritism involved in that. I was certainly I was nervous about this game even when Gonzaga had cut the lead to 10 at halftime. I'm like, man, here they come. They're going to make a run. But it did feel like early on, like just the eye test, you're like, wow, like this doesn't look like the team that's supposed to be the 4.5-point underdog in this thing. Not only the way they're playing, but just physically the way they look. You know what I mean? Like Drew Timme is a nice player for Gonzaga. He does not look physically up to what, Thamba and some of the other bigs for
Mitchell and
Baylor. Mitchell and Butler in the backcourt.
They're kind of they got a different they got a different physique than your average college basketball
man.
squad. Yeah, I told you yesterday, usually you can spot the basketball teams in an airport pretty quickly because there's not there's the bunch of guys that are 6'5" to 6'10" and super slender and everything. Baylor might be a little bit tougher. You might see them walking through the airport and you might be like, wait, is that a football team?
Right.
No, they're way too tall to be a football team. So they're a basketball team, but they're built a little thicker.
They are, yeah. And yet, even, at halftime, Baylor had shot 58% from three. They had 9 offensive rebounds. They had 16 more shot attempts. Jalen Suggs had gotten into foul trouble, and yet the Baylor Bears were only up by 10. I thought this was going to be a game in the second half, and I think that's the most impressive thing to me about that game last night, Seth, was that I thought Gonzaga, they cut it to 10 on the last shot of the half, and I felt like this is as close as they've been in a while. Gonzaga probably feels fortunate to only be down 10. They've played their C- game, and they're only down 10 to the other best team in the country. I thought for sure Gonzaga was making a run, and the closest Gonzaga ever got was 9 points. They got it down to 9 points with about 14 minutes to go in regulation, and Baylor immediately goes on a 15-4 run to take it back up to 20.
Well, the big thing I wonder about with Baylor is also, hey, both of your centers are in deep foul trouble.
Right.
Not too long into the second half. And, what's that? How's that going to look? I got pretty cocky as a lifelong Baylor fan. Honestly, as soon as Gonzaga went to a zone in the first half, I was like, all right, is this where we're at, Gonzaga? This is your answer? And because I thought you guys were supposed to be scary as hell in transition. I thought you were going to be flying up and down the court. And Baylor beat Gonzaga at their own game. Baylor got a bunch of turnovers and scored a bunch of points off of turnovers. And then and then we know Baylor can shoot threes, but I think the offensive boards were such a huge key to this game because they kept grabbing offensive boards and kicking out to threes and getting those open threes, creating their shots. It was just such a thorough throttling that it was really, really nice to see. I enjoyed it. If I were on the other end of it, if it had been Gonzaga beating up Baylor, I wouldn't have enjoyed it, but I would have appreciated, by the second half, I would say, all right, I might just go to sleep now. I can see where this is going. I didn't have the doubt injected in my veins the way you did in the second half, Sean.
No, and some of that is just sports fan fear of failure lurking around the corner all the time when you're rooting for a team. I mean,
especially when you got money on it. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And Gonzaga was going for history. I mean, no team had ever gone wire to wire undefeated in a season since 1976. So Gonzaga had, they had certainly the title on the line, but there was some history involved in this as well. And Baylor never let them breathe, man. They never let them breathe at all. You brought up something interesting there about them going to zone. Think about that for a second. Think about the degree to which Baylor had Gonzaga grab bagging in that game. Baylor is the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country. What's the last thing you want to do against a 3-point shooting team? Play a zone. You know what I mean? And that's what Gonzaga was forced to do just because Baylor was so good athletically, independent of the great 3-point shooting. Their ability, Seth, just to get into the teeth of the defense. Maceo Teague is a guy we haven't talked about much this morning, but his ability to break guys down off the dribble, his ability to get into kind of that soft spot there in the zone, like when they went to zone and Teague would find himself right there in the middle, right at the foul line there. They'd find Teague, and Teague would either then put the ball on the floor or he would find the open shooter. Man, it's a great job, Scott Drew. Great job, Baylor.
Yeah. That's by the way, we were talking about Scott Drew earlier and just what an incredible rebuild it is. And you were kind of joking about oh God, do you still call it a rebuild when he took over in 2003 or so?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that the probation had gone through 2010.
Okay.
It was one of the I mean, I knew there were harsh sanctions, but it's considered one of the harshest sanctions that's not a death penalty in the history of NCAA sports. So I mean, for Drew to kind of think about how long Bill O'Brien lasted at Penn State.
Yeah.
He was flipping out on boosters and writers within like 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any small feat to stick with a team, have losing seasons your first 4 seasons while you're going through sanctions, and then start turning the corner and having winning performances as you're coming out of the sanctions. And then or really, I guess what it was a good 3, 4, 5 years before they had really turned it around, and then you got a decade of actually being a consistent presence in college basketball.
The amazing thing might be that Scott Drew is still there after 15 years because he's been relatively successful. I mean, he hadn't won a title, but he's consistent tournament team every year. I'm shocked. I'm sure he's had offers. I'm shocked. Not shocked that he's still there, but that may be the more remarkable thing, that a guy like that is still at Baylor after 15 years when guys change jobs quite a bit.
But that's where Texas, I don't know, I feel like more schools in Texas should have kind of like a hidden or a sly advantage and becoming a basketball powerhouse, because there's not necessarily the same pressure as there is at the Blue Bloods, obviously, and yet you have this huge pool of talent. Not to mention the resources of being a large university, like so many schools here are. I feel like we need more. Sean, it's just kind of weird that it's been Texas Western and Baylor in the history of NCAA basketball winning championships.
God, that is weird, isn't it? Wow, yeah.
And UTEP, UTEP previously Texas Western.
Right.
I mean, was it 1950? 1955, 1950.
Was that? Yeah, I'm not sure.
It was the first when they decided to say, when their coach Matthew McConaughey said, "Hey, you know what? One thing I've noticed, there are a lot of these black guys that aren't starting for our basketball team are actually really good basketball players.
I might start them.
How about we start more of these black guys?"
Yeah.
And people are like, whoa. And then he did. What he did was he took his best basketball players and played them, and then he won a national championship.
That's a novel concept.
And unfortunately, eventually over time, other people stumbled onto that concept.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
They lost their advantage that they necessarily.
Like any trend, there's a window, and you got to take advantage of it while you can. Yeah.
Yeah, playing the actual best basketball players he had available at the time. Turns out people caught on to that. They're like, oh, wow, okay. Wait, maybe we should start playing our best basketball players.
Yes, yeah. Analytics. That's what that is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Let's play our best guys. All right, 713-572-4610.
Oh, and by way of because I put the racial element in there. If people don't understand the joke there, they were the first all-black starting lineup in college basketball, and they ended up winning a national championship.
And McConaughey,
I wasn't randomly making it about race for no reason whatsoever.
McConaughey was a star in the movie. I never saw the movie about that. McConaughey played the coach in the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 1966. My apologies to Texas Western.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey played the coach.
Okay.
But I'm blanking. It was a pretty good movie, I thought.
Okay.
Sports movies are tricky sometimes. You got to cram so many. Like, sports movies based on real life events, you always have to cram in like the cliche moments, where all of a sudden a guy realizes what it's really all about and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But also get in the. I guess maybe I'm a little too cynical sometimes, because like even the Jackie Robinson movie 42, it felt like they tried to cram in like every moment that you always have in a movie like that, to where you're like, oh, here it comes. Okay, we checked off that box. Okay, oh, where is the previously racist white player teammate who now all of a sudden gets it and really, okay, we checked. Oh, and he's from Alabama. Even better, check that box off. Like all that, like it kind of diminishes it a little bit.
Needless to say, Seth Payne more of a documentary guy than a nonfiction biopic guy.
Yeah, I like the movie that says like, hey, by the way, that racist white teammate, he stayed racist as hell until the day he died.
He never came around.
He actually didn't learn a damn thing from Jackie Robinson.
All right, the Astros. Dusty Baker goes in on loser Angel fans. You'll want to hear this. It's next. All right, let's get it right out here, Seth. Matthew McConaughey did not play Don Haskins in the movie about Texas Western. Called Glory Road is the name of the movie.
Yeah, Josh Lucas was the actor who also plays young John Dutton in Yellowstone, if you know him. He's that guy. When you see him, you're like, oh, yeah, that guy. Okay, that guy. I can see why Seth maybe thought it was McConaughey in his memory, in his addled brain.
He looks a little like him.
If you've seen Glory Road, you know that the part should have been played by Matthew McConaughey.
Right.
It's a classic type of We Are Marshall type of role that Matthew McConaughey would play.
Let's start our best guys.
Josh Lucas did a hell of a job. I'd be surprised if the first choice wasn't Matthew McConaughey. But he played the part of Don Haskins, who was the coach of Texas Western, which is now UTEP, of course, but Texas Western, who won the basketball championship in 1966. They were the first all-black starting lineup amongst for a national championship winner.
That's right.
Winning basketball team.
Yep. And McConaughey.
So those are the two Texas schools that have won a Division I national championship.
Yes. Matthew McConaughey was the head coach in We Are Marshall. So
actually, I guess 3 schools have won it: Baylor, Texas Western, and UTEP.
Texas Western and UTEP get double. They get double credit.
Yes.
All you gotta do is change your name.
Yes. That's a yes.
Right. Okay. So Lou Alcindor / Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has actually won like 10 MVPs instead of 5 MVPs.
It's astounding.
Because he had 2 names. Gotcha. Just making sure. All right. So the Astros last night, they lose to the Angels 7-6. Bullpen kind of blew up. Joe Smith kind of spit the bit in that game. You know who I blame for this loss last night, Seth? Landry Locker. Landry Locker, we know Brian Abreu came in, did a really nice job in that game, and Landry Locker tweeted last night after Brian Abreu came in and pitched 2 really stellar innings in relief, the 6th inning and the 7th inning. Landry Locker tweeted, Abreu is nice. This is going to be an excellent bullpen. And then 5 minutes later, Joe Smith is in there beaning guys and giving up hits and pooping the bed and giving up 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to lose the game for them. So this is Landry's fault, really, is what it is.
Well, it's Landry, and look, a theme of the day too. You and I, as newly minted stat nerds and experts, would say this. Small sample size, Landry.
Yeah.
And the sport of all sports that you got to remember, the small sample size is baseball. Come on. Landry, you know that there's going to be some issues with this bullpen. We got to work our way through it as we develop and identify some of these guys. But especially, no matter how good the bullpen's going to be, we cannot be in the habit of the starting pitcher going 3, 4 innings, whatever. Maybe he'll go deep into the 2/3 of the way through the 5th inning.
Yeah.
Who knows
at
this point?
The
bullpen's not going to be good enough to overcome that. Very few would be. So Odorizzi coming back very, very soon hopefully will help with that. And then obviously the other guys are capable of going deeper too. You know what I noticed too though, Sean? I think that, not that I believe in jinxes, but it's a little bit of bad form for Landry to tweet that out. All you did was tweet, hey, Yordan is up with bases loaded.
Right.
Just alert, to kind of tell people. Maybe you're watching the basketball game, you should turn over to the baseball game.
Yeah.
You got a whole bunch of people telling you that you jinxed that.
Oh, did I? I didn't even see that. Did I get a lot of blowback? Okay.
I looked at the replies, and that's the exact opposite. You did what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
If you do believe in jinxes, or if you're trying to, I always try to be polite about the people who are superstitious. I don't want to piss them off for no good reason. So I thought you did the right thing, which is like, you didn't predict anything.
No.
You didn't say, hey, big moment for him here, or he's going to be awesome. You just said, hey, look, here's the situation. Same way sometimes people will say, like, wow, there's no run. So far, there hasn't been a whole lot of activity in the 8th inning of this baseball game, when you're trying not to say that it's a no-hitter,
I was providing a service is what I was doing. We all agree that Yordan Alvarez at-bats are one of the most watchable things on the Houston landscape once again. So, I was just providing a service. Dusty Baker went in on Angel fans. Look, I like having fans back in the stadium. And I'm even willing to have fans back in the stadium who throw things on the field, so long as the Astros are destroying these teams on the scoreboard. Didn't happen last night. The Angels got the last laugh on the scoreboard. We had Angel fans throwing actual garbage cans on the field. We had Angel fans throwing inflatable garbage cans on the field. Dusty Baker does not have time for these losers.
You could tell the amount of hostility and the amount of hatred in the stands. And, how many in the in the stands have never done anything wrong in their life, or we paid the price for it. How many people have not cheated, on a test or whatever at some point in time? I mean, it's easy, if you live in glass houses, but I don't think anybody lives in glass houses. And I think that sometimes we need to look at ourselves before you spew hate on somebody else. Like I said, it's a sad situation for America to me.
For America.
I love that it's a sad situation for America.
I need somebody to get Dusty Baker a Facebook account. So he can,
oh, my God.
So he can look and see that, honestly, can we be real for a moment, please? Can we stop acting like the Astros, and I'm not talking about Dusty Baker, I'm talking about any of us. Can we stop acting like the Astros being booed a bunch is going to be like the ugliest thing they've ever seen? Like, we're talking about all these guys have social media. They know that these guys can't do anything well without hundreds of haters coming after them, pre-cheating scandal, all of that. So, yeah, I mean, it's like Dusty's saying the right thing. There's nothing untrue about what he said right there, except for he said, hey, we paid the price. I think that at least a whole lot of, I don't know. I mean, people are going to be vicious about this no matter what, but I think the perception that the Astros got off scot-free is what really addles a lot of people, more so than just if they'd won the World Series. Well, I guess a lot of people want the World Series stripped, but, baseball can't do that because your teams were cheating too, and then it becomes a slippery slope argument of like, okay, well, what level of cheating strips a World Series, this, that, the other thing, all that. I don't need to tell you guys that. You
know what's funny about him saying that we paid the price is part of the price they paid was firing A.J. Hinch, which created the vacancy to hire Dusty Baker.
Yeah.
It would be funny it'd be funny if he went into specifics, Seth, and he's like, we paid the price. I mean, they fired Jeff Luna. They had to fire A.J. Hinch and hire me. And I like Dusty. I'm just joking around, but
we've paid the price. I'm making like several $1 million a year because of that scandal, and I'm not happy about it. I'll tell you what. Do you realize? Nobody else thought I was even going to have a job at this point,
right?
And here I am,
the World Series contender.
My team's 4-1. I put Aledmus Diaz right into the 3 spot on Saturday when Bregman was out, and nobody even said a damn thing.
Boom, and he got 3 hits.
He did. I know.
It worked.
That was the whole thing. Nobody said anything because you're like, you were ready to. Like, okay, well, all right, I understand you got to put in Aledmus Diaz for Bregman, but does he have to bat third? And he got 3 hits.
Can I just tell you?
He knows exactly what he's doing.
He's pushing all the right buttons. Can I just tell you, we were remiss. I texted you this yesterday. We should bring it up now. That when we come in on Mondays and the Astros have played a weekend series, I probably just need to get into a better habit of putting stuff together. Like, what do we like from over the weekend? Like keeping a list throughout the weekend of stuff that I like that we could run through. And I didn't do that this weekend. I mean, we talked plenty of Astros yesterday. But if I had done that, I would have brought up the fact that Jose Altuve tagged up on a pop-up to second base on Saturday. How awesome was that? That was beautiful. Was it Saturday or Friday? I'm trying to remember.
That was Friday.
Was it Friday? Okay, it was Friday. I couldn't remember if it was Friday or Saturday.
That's why it felt like so long ago.
But still,
I might be wrong. I just called Josh Lucas Matthew McConaughey, and then here I am 90 seconds later confidently saying, that was Friday. Yeah.
It's the 9 o'clock hour. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Look,
Altuve, baby.
Altuve. Okay, what was more impressive, though, Sean? Altuve safe on that tag up that nobody expected, which I'm guessing had a little bit of scouting to do with it, though, too. Like I guess then they've watched him in that situation before and thought that he was going to be able to get a beat on it.
Had to be.
So that or Maldonado being safe at home
last night.
He slid in a cloud of dust. Dude, if I'm that right fielder, I'm quitting the sport after that.
Because you
Maldonado ran on me. That's it. I'm done.
Dude, Maldonado's slide. What was that?
It was effective, successful. What other synonyms would you like for? It was exactly what the doctor ordered. What?
You remember earlier you said the inflatable garbage cans were thrown on the field because that's what the women at the Angels games, something along the lines of, because that's That's the forget. You put it much better than I'm about to put it, but that something about Anaheim fans humping the garbage can because it looked like they're women or something along those lines. Martin Maldonado looked like the dude that was humping the garbage can when he was sliding in last night.
Well, it's not look. When Martin Maldonado woke up yesterday, there was not a single part of his soul that thought he was going to be making a headfirst dive into home plate.
That's probably true. That's probably true. And by the way, he provided the formula for winning a replay challenge in that case because there's no way he touched home plate, but he just created so much dirt by plowing through the home plate area that you just couldn't see home plate or his hand. So you're like, I guess he's safe. All right.
I wonder if part of that was the adrenaline. What inning was that in that he slid in home? Was that before or after he kind of stared down Ohtani as Ohtani was staring down Joe Smith?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so because
it was before because Ohtani was staring down Joe Smith in the 8th inning. Yeah,
that's so Joe Smith hit Shohei Ohtani, and Ohtani acted like it was intentional or something. Which like Joe Smith. Like, honestly, go ahead and rifle up that sidearm at my ribs as hard as you can, Joe Smith. And
he represented the lead run in the 8th inning with nobody out. Like, what? Joe Smith's not trying to bean anybody there.
A slider got away from him. It was no big deal. And Ohtani gives him the death stare. But then Maldonado, is doing the old follow-up, walking right behind him.
Right.
I'm going to tell you honestly, Ohtani's a big fella. That is a big dude, man. But yeah, get over yourself, buddy. Yep. You're not a phenom yet here in America. Okay, I know you got a huge cheering section for you everywhere you go and everything. But as of yet in America, you're not the phenom that you were in Japan. So just we're not playing by the Gretzky rules or something. We're like, oh no, somebody hit Ohtani with a baseball. The world must stop. The world, no.
Yeah,
you're not that guy yet.
Take it easy. All right. Noon today, Tony Busby is going to have a press conference. We're going to carry it here live on Sports Radio 610. He'll have the latest in the Deshaun Watson civil lawsuits. And in fact, the 22nd civil lawsuit was made public yesterday. There was one new item in here that we have not seen in any of the previous 21, but it does affect the overall arc of the case against Deshaun Watson. We'll share with you what that was next. Payne and Pendergast with you on a Tuesday. Tony Busby is going to meet with the media today at noon. He's going to stream it on his Facebook page. 22 lawsuits have now been filed against Deshaun Watson, and the latest one to come out, the 22nd, Jane Doe, has sued Deshaun Watson, and that lawsuit was posted yesterday to the county website. And Seth, there's a lot of things in these lawsuits that are now becoming repetitive. Doesn't make them any less disturbing. It's just, digging into each of these lawsuits I don't think is great radio. I think people know that the allegations in these are pretty disturbing, and they are allegations at this point. The one new thing about this that I guess I don't know, you tell me what you think of this and what Tony Busby may be trying to do with creating a perception. But this was part of the 22nd lawsuit, but is really a commentary on Deshaun Watson overall. It says, from publicly available information in a short time frame, in addition to the vast physical therapy and training resources available from the Texans organization, Watson used more than 50 different women for massages. Some made clear that they were unlicensed. Others made sure they did not specialize in massage therapy. For some, Watson indicated what clothes he wanted the therapist to wear. A footnote for this paragraph read, Watson selected all these women via social media, mostly through Instagram and through Snapchat. It's about creating perception with all this stuff. What do you think the purpose of that paragraph is?
I think the purpose is to try to make it look like, or at least to present, perhaps the argument that he was up to no good, or that he was seeking an unprofessional experience. I guess my big question there with that strategy would be, it almost feels like you're employing some of the strategy of victim shaming, perhaps, that the opposition would use. That's the part I don't quite get or understand. Now, and we had a couple listeners earlier, so well, wait a second. If these women are saying that they're not massage therapists, then isn't it clear that they might be up for something else? In at least the the lawsuits, the women that were estheticians or not licensed massage therapists, in some of these, the assertion is that Deshaun basically talked them into giving them a massage. That some of them tried to refer him to somebody else, and he said, no, it's no big deal. So they paint a different picture. And yet at the same time, I guess when Busby says, hey, he's trying to find these women on Instagram, I guess I think there's a perception that the only thing you can find on Instagram, I guess, is something sordid. And I don't know why Busby's doing that, because some of the extremely professional licensed massage therapists also advertise on Instagram. It's not like it doesn't mean that you're doing something sordid or looking for something sordid just because you go look for a massage therapist on Instagram.
Yeah,
that part I understand, and I know a bunch of people are going to text in and tell me what they're trying to do. I understand what he's trying to do, but it seems inconsistent with some of the other strategies that he might be employing.
Yeah, I think of the things that are being implied in these paragraphs and with that footnote, the Instagram part is a pretty easily explainable one if you're Rusty Hardin. Like, this is how people shop for things nowadays is on social media. That's a big outlet for companies and small businesses and people providing a specific service, independent contractors, things like that, providing a service.
I bought some weight room equipment off of a link from something I saw on Instagram, or from something that I saw on Instagram the other day. And I assure you I was not trying to have relations with the weight room equipment.
That would be something,
Yet.
So,
there is this image now, and Deshaun is admitted to, or at least Deshaun's people have already admitted to at least one very unprofessional occurrence that they claim was consensual.
Right.
That one of the plaintiffs claims was not consensual, but that it was sexual in nature. So, I think they're trying to. I think what Busby's probably trying to go for is that I think Deshaun has some Deshaun. Maybe at times is arranged ones that are mutually agreed to be consensual, but that he was trying to extend the party on into other people for whom it definitely wasn't consensual. But he wants to establish Deshaun as like almost a guy that's so hungry for it that he's just constantly searching for legitimate or illegitimate experiences, I suppose.
Yeah,
when I say legitimate, I mean ones that are at least consensual.
Right. That's the part of what Busby is adding into the 22nd lawsuit here that is really more about the overall case against Deshaun as opposed to this specific case, the 22nd Jane Doe. The Instagram stuff, I think, is easily explainable. The part that he brings up about some of them being licensed massage therapists, some of them being unlicensed, some of them having different titles, that part is, to me, I'm just deploying common sense here. This is something where if I were, in a courtroom, I would ask Deshaun this question, which is, you are one of the most finely tuned athletes in the world. You play one of the most important positions in professional sports. Your body is your temple. Your body is your product. Your body is the reason you're going to get $160 million, you hope, over the next 5 years. Why would you welcome somebody working on your body in a massage capacity whose area of expertise is not massage by title or admitted skill set? There are women in these 22 lawsuits. There are multiple women who have allegedly told Deshaun, I don't do massage. There's even one woman in here, Seth, that said she studied up on how to do massage before she massaged Deshaun. So if massage is so important to the athletic, not just the experience, but to keeping your body finely tuned. I mean, you talk about it all the time. You got massaged on a regular basis to keep your body honed when you were a professional athlete. And we're talking to Deshaun Watson here, who's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the most popular sport in America.
So now I wasn't one of the 5 best quarterbacks?
You were
Whatever,
7th.
Sean.
You were 7th.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my list. You were honorable mention. But if you're Deshaun and your body is that important to you, it would seem counterintuitive that you're just bringing people in that are licensed in something other than massage.
Right. And that's where I guess I'm having a hard time explaining how I feel about all that. I say yes. It does. It raises your eyebrows. But I guess that alone doesn't, as far as an argument goes, that part of it, I hesitate, or I guess I stopped short of saying, well, then it must have necessarily been for nefarious reasons that he was seeking that many people. I guess I think all the evidence that's more relevant and pertinent, there's a lot of evidence that is going to be relevant and pertinent against Deshaun already. We have a lot of it. I guess that's the one that for whatever reason, I guess it doesn't, because I don't know. I'm not, if it's a choice of somebody that just likes to get a lot of massages and they are actually legitimate, the guy's got the resources to do it and he's got a crazy travel schedule. That part of it just doesn't really move my meter one way or the other.
Okay.
Like as an argument for or against Deshaun or anybody else. I think there's plenty of other stuff there. I think, it's weird and notable. Now, if all the other evidence points to him, yes, abusing these situations and assaulting these women, that's when it becomes the numbers are relevant to me there, because then it's just such a monstrous number of crimes, that's where the total number definitely comes into it. But as far as for actually determining, I feel like it's kind of circumstantial. The part about him seeking out the people that weren't massage therapists and then trying to talk them into giving the massage, that part of it, not the sheer quantity of it, but that's the part where it starts to feel strange and weird. Like if you told me you went to 40 different licensed massage therapists, I'd be like, all right, well, he really likes massage, but I need to know what the other evidence is. Allegedly talking women into giving massages who don't typically give massages, that's the part that really raises my eyebrows and makes me wonder, okay, exactly what was the purpose? If it was for sports, why did you think just some random person was going to be just as good as giving you a massage? The other one thing I would say, too, is the argument, and now I'm just kind of trying to think of, like, from Rusty Hardin's perspective, how might he try to shoot down some of what Busby is saying? Whenever people say, well, why would he go outside of who the Texans have available? The simple answer is that's standard. Most guys are going to be using massage therapists who aren't necessarily associated with the team. It's kind of like for a team to have massage therapists on staff all the time for when the players would need them, it's a logistical nightmare. And frankly, usually this is the first time I can ever remember this being an issue, like what it is for Deshaun. So most teams, they have some massage therapists that they'll work with, but they don't have nearly the number of resources for however 53 to 90 guys over the course of a season might want or need. Yeah, so I think that's like that one's pretty easy to shoot down. I think there's a lot of other stuff that's way more valid from Busby's side.
By my count, I'm looking at my spreadsheet that I've put together for these now 22 civil lawsuits against Deshaun, Seth. There are 9 of them that name the alleged victim, as a licensed massage therapist.
Yeah.
9 of the 22. There's a few of them that have a license pending or they're training to be a massage therapist. There's a handful of estheticians. There's some that are listed as just a professional. Literally, that's what they're. So Jane Doe is a it's all it says is a professional. A couple of them are owners of fitness companies. But it's all over the place as far as what the job titles are on these women.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's
strange.
There's a lot. The sheer, and don't get me wrong, the sheer number, like especially in the course of one calendar year, and when you include his character witnesses, that's a lot. And it's one of those things too, where let's say he's guilty of this. Like, at what point did he think? Was there ever a point where he thought, like, okay, if he is guilty of this, like, okay, I'm not going to keep getting away with this forever.
Someone's going to say something.
Yeah, like you can't just continue to do it this long without somebody coming forward. I don't know. I mean that's it's strange.
So Tony Busby speaks today at noon. Deshaun Watson has not spoken yet. Rusty Hardin has only spoken through statements that he's made. Deshaun Watson is still looking at Twitter, though, Seth. You know how I know that? He is still liking tweets. I'm looking at his likes right now. He just liked a tweet an hour ago from at the Hustle Factor. Billionaire Mindset is the name of this person. I don't think that's their real name. It just says billionaire. I don't think his first name is Billionaire and his last name is Mindset. The tweet that he just liked an hour ago, never lose hope. Good things will come soon. All right. So Deshaun Watson liking an optimistic tweet.
When was that?
That was an hour ago.
Oh, an hour ago.
An hour ago.
Okay.
Deshaun liked it an hour ago. Never lose hope. Good things will come soon. This same person at The Hustle Factor tweeted yesterday, and Deshaun liked it. If you want to go big, stop thinking small.
Okay. Boy, I wonder. I have a hard time thinking that Deshaun Watson could ever have an issue with Jack Easterby. They are
yes. They like
simpatico.
A lot of these motivational. Here's another one that he liked from Billionaire Mindset. Judge no one, just improve yourself. Boy, do you think how much of the coverage of Deshaun Watson do you think he's consuming right now?
That's a good question. I wonder.
How much coverage has there really been of it, though? Other than, we talk about it a lot on this show, but the media, the national media, the shows that Deshaun might consume or watch are really just reporting the news part of it and not injecting a whole lot of hypothetical or opinion on it right now.
I was talking to Drew Hodgson, who joins me on the Deceptively Fast podcast quite a bit. Former teammate of mine. He lives in Charlotte, and he said that it's barely a story there. And like from what he sees in the national media, he consumes a lot of ESPN and everything, and he's just not seeing a whole lot of it. And I think part of that, we talked about this before. I think outside the city, when news outlets have messed this up on both sides so often. In handling legal cases like this on sensitive subject matters, I wonder if a lot of outlets are just really nervous about how their talent might screw it up.
Yeah.
How, when one of the super loud and brash guys that don't ever really seem to care about whether they're right or wrong, just as long as they get enough clicks. I wonder if they're worried about it. But in which case, I feel like there should still be more. At the very least, then, bring in the pros, bring in Amy Dash, bring in the people that actually know what we're talking about. And Sean, you and I haven't gotten any necessarily instructions on this. I think you and I just from the very beginning decided, all right, let's as much as possible be very humble and open about how little we know about the actual legal process and just rely on what we can find from experts weighing in. But I guess when you get further away from the case, then I think they're just nervous to touch it. I don't know.
That surprises me a little bit about Charlotte with Drew, only because Carolina was a team that was, kind of in on wanting Deshaun Watson, and they're not just a random city that has a football team that wanted Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is iconic in that part of the country. In the Carolinas, and I don't know about Charlotte. I know Clemson's in South Carolina, Charlotte's in North Carolina. I always view the Carolinas as
it's
just
right
sort
on the border.
Yeah.
Charlotte's pretty close. It's not on the board, but it's pretty close.
It's pretty close. So so obviously Deshaun Watson comes with an already established degree of popularity in that part of the country. That surprises me a little bit.
Let's see if this can be one of the many things that I was wrong about today. First, I said that Matthew McConaughey starred in Glory Road. I was way off. Looks like Charlotte's just north of.
No, I think you're right about that.
South Carolina.
Yeah,
okay.
I think you're
dad.
right.
I grew up for part of my childhood in North Carolina, and we used to go to this. There's a amusement park called Carowinds, I think, and it's right on the border between North and South Carolina. And when I was a young, stupid kid, I thought the fact that you could stand on the border with one foot in each state was just about the coolest thing that ever happened. And somehow in my mind, there were only several spots in America where you could do that, as opposed to literally tens of thousands of miles where you could do that. But because it was all marked out and everything, and I could stand with one foot on the left and one foot on the right, in my mind, all the other state borders were on interstates somewhere. And, of course, you'd never get out and stand there, yeah.
Or they were rivers. You'd have to stand in the middle of a river in order to be in two states. Have you ever been to where the four corners meet of, I guess it's Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona? They meet at four corners on a platform, and you can sit.
Right.
Seth, if you liked sitting in two states at once, let me tell you, if you sit in four states at once, you're not going to want to leave. They're going to have to drag you off of that platform.
It's weird. I wish I had never brought this up today, because that's like the single fond memory I have of my childhood, was thinking it was a big deal to stand on the border between North and South Carolina.
Single fond memory?
I was like, we were probably that was probably that was probably part of one of my dad's attempts to bribe me into not, they're not telling the cops that I was supposed to be back with my mom, because it was September, by the way.
9:53.
It's like that was probably 2 days before the cops came and got me in the middle of the night to take me back to my mom.
God.
That was. But it was a good moment. It was a good moment. That was the one good moment.
Oh my God! And another layer of the onion gets peeled back. Seth.
Hey, I honestly, okay, I'm joking a little bit when I talk about that. I'll say this, and I'm joking a little bit when I say this. I do appreciate the fact that I had like two parents that both wanted me.
Right.
Like I had like a lot of the drama from my childhood was over one of my parents like just not wanting the law to intervene in like who got to keep the kid at any.
Could have been
moment.
worse. Could have been worse.
I was fought over. I was like a pretty lady, you know, like with two burly men having a fist fight over.
I hear that as you calling your mom Burley just now. That's what I. All right, Seth. Antibodies to you, my friend.
Hey, antibodies to you.
All right, thank you. All right, we are done. We're out of time. In the Loop is up next. We will see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Have a great day, everybody.
Why is there a harbor seal walking around the office?
Oh, that's our new CEO.
Come again?
Well, apparently they didn't order through EasyCater for the board meeting, and when the food didn't arrive, they kind of lost focus. Next thing you know?
We have a seal as our CEO. Did I say something wrong?
No, she just wants a mackerel. Here you go.
Bad ideas happen when there's no food for the meeting. So make sure it's on time and as ordered from more than 80,000 restaurants. Now, EasyCater.
Thank you. I just got promoted.
Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.